Tonight, Minnesota tonight. Minnesota tonight. Yeah.
On November 8th, Minnesotans will head to the polls to play the least fun version of Would You Rather, followed by 4 years of 7 minutes in heaven. Minnesota Tonight takes a closer look as part of our ongoing segment, Running Commentary. Tonight, the state legislature. If elections for president and Congress are like superstar Chris Hemsworth and his slightly less famous brother Liam, then elections for state house and senate are like their other brother. This guy. I want to say Dave? Yes, after all the flashy ad campaigns and news coverage of bigger races, elections to the state legislature can often feel like an unimpressive afterthought. But unlike other disappointing endings to trilogies, these elections are actually worth watching. Let's take a look back at some of the 2016 election stories you might have missed. To begin, earlier this year, in a shocking twist, Republican House Representative and guy slowly realizing he's the one everybody's laughing about, Bob Barrett, was declared ineligible to run for re-election in District 32B, because it turns out one of the requirements for representing a district is that you actually have to live there. Barrett, who has held office since 2010, owns a home just outside the district in Schaefer, but claimed to be living in a rental home in Taylor's Falls. In a move reminiscent of Principal Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a group of DFL activists conducted extensive surveillance of the rental home, noting that the sparsely furnished house did not have cable, internet, or trash pickup, and that over the course of 30 visits, nobody answered the door. As a result, the house is ranked number 1 most likely to be egged by Josh. When asked why he never had any visitors at the rental home, Barrett replied by saying that he is, quote, not extroverted, said the man running for public office. Furthermore, Barrett accused the DFL activist of violating his privacy and waiting to file their petition in an attempt to knock him off the ballot. And that might be a convincing argument, except that the DFL made the exact same claims in 2014, meaning Barrett had 2 full years to do something, literally anything, to prove that he lived where he said he did. Seriously, a lemonade stand would have been enough. But the Supreme Court ruled that Barrett was ineligible, which means that all votes in November will be discounted and the race will be decided in a special election with a different Republican on Valentine's Day. Speaking of, if you were thinking of sending Bob Barrett flowers or chocolates for Valentine's Day, you can just leave them on the porch next to the ones from last year. But while good old-fashioned snooping may have ended Barrett's chances, for a number of Minnesota House and Senate candidates, new-fashioned social media poses a threat. Because while high-profile candidates might employ staffers to manage their Facebook accounts, post to Twitter, and send smiles to evangelical voters on Christian Mingle, state candidates often run their own social media accounts, which means every so often they post something they probably wish they hadn't. For example, let's turn to the Minnesota House race in Apple Valley, where last year Democrat Erin May Quaid tweeted out, "Macy Gray wrote a love song to a vibrator, shocking no woman who has ever used one." That one really got the media buzzing. Or take her 2013 tweet, calling actor Rob Lowe not just sexy, but quote, masturbate in public sexy. And while fact-checkers agree that statement is absolutely true, you might wonder why somebody thinking about running for public office would post something like that. At least until you see her Instagram photo from July 2013 of a glass of red wine with the caption, "It's Tuesday at 1:18. Fuck it, I'm a drink." Now this might make her everyone's best gal pal, but it may not be the most professional behavior from a candidate. Thankfully, social media gaffes are a bipartisan issue. This past year, Republican House candidate Nolan West put everybody to shame, especially himself, with a series of posts supporting the Confederate flag and calling Lincoln, quote, the single worst president this country has ever seen. The backlash to these posts was so intense that it forced West to resign from his job as a legislative aide, as well as permanently change his name to Nolan Deep South. This has been Running Commentary, reminding you all to wait until after casting your ballot on Election Day before you start drinking.
Tonight, Minnesota tonight.